Not only does Peeta lose his leg in the first Hunger Games, Katniss doesn't find out about it until they are being interviewed for the second time. Here's how it all goes down. So right before the first post-game interview where they watch the recap, like Katniss is like underneath the stage, like they're supposed to rise up and that's the whole thing. So Katniss is, you know, alone, like separate from Peeta. They're supposed to reunite on stage. But like right before she's gonna go up, Haymitch goes over to her like, hey, and like, oh, let me give you a hug. And she's like, what? And then he's like whispering in her ear like, you're in trouble, girl. Like, the Capitol's mad that you showed them up and like made them look stupid with the berries. So your only defense is that you were crazy in love with this boy and that's why you did it. So she's obviously freaking out. She's thinking about the implications for her family and loved ones and for Peeta also. And Katniss asks if Haymitch told Peeta about this and he says like, oh, I don't have to. He's already on the same page. And Katniss doesn't quite understand what he means by that. She's like, is Peeta thinking ahead in terms of like he's aware of the danger we're in? Or is he already in love? This is important. She says, I haven't even begun to separate out my feelings for Peeta. It's too complicated. What I did as part of the games, as opposed to what I did out of anger at the Capitol, or because of how it would be viewed back in District 12, or simply because it was the only decent thing to do, or what I did because I cared about him. These are questions to be unraveled back home in the peace and quiet of the woods when no one is watching. And then it's time to go on stage. The way she describes Peeta when she first sees him is so cute. He looks so clean and healthy and beautiful. I can hardly recognize him, but his smile is the same whether in mud or in the Capitol. And when I see it, I take about 3 steps and fling myself into his arms. So sweet. He like has a cane at that point. He staggers back. And then he's just like kissing her and they're kissing like nonstop. Caesar's like, hey guys, we have to do an interview. And Peeta's like, go away, like pushes him away and keeps kissing Katniss. Like they're doing the bit. And the whole time Katniss is just thinking like, does he know how much danger we're in? What's happening? Oh my God. And then they sit down on this little couch together for the interview. And Katniss sits really close to Peeta on the couch, but like she looks at Haymitch and she's like, I think he wants me to do more. So she like kicks off her shoes and like curls up next to him. And then Peeta has his arm around her. And then she's holding his hand with both of her hands for the rest of like the 3-hour recap where they're watching everything about the games. And the recap ends in an interesting way. Instead of just ending on the moment with the berries, it ends with Katniss pounding on the glass door of the hovercraft, shouting Peeta's name while he's being revived. So that interview's over. And then the next day, there's an interview like in the training center, just with Caesar and them two on the couch again. There's no crowd. And that is when Katniss finds out that Peeta lost his leg. Caesar asks Peeta how his new leg is working out. And Katniss is confused and she like lifts up Peeta's pant leg and she just goes, oh no, seeing that he has a prosthetic. And Peeta explains how he hasn't had the chance to tell her. And Katniss is saying it's her fault because of the tourniquet. Peeta comforts her by being like, no, it's your fault that I'm alive, actually, because he would have bled out without the tourniquet. And Katniss is really upset by this. She's worried she's gonna start crying, so she like just buries her face in Peeta's shirt. And it takes a couple of minutes to coax her out of the shirt and continue the interview. So like, she's just in there, like, I'm just imagining her, she's like hyperventilating in there. So yeah, when she finds out, it's clearly very upsetting and disturbing. There's so much stuff happening and she's live on an interview and it's just a lot. And Peeta's just like sitting there like a king.